welcome to Serger Month.
Yes.
Yes.
It sure is. It's April.
It's already, and we're like days, we're over a week into April,
know.
which is absolutely nuts.
Yes.
I feel like you blink and you lose a month. Not a day, not a week. I do not know how we got to April already.
It's been a whirlwind.
It has just been, phew,
Yeah.
boom.
So much stuff going on, and at the same time, nothing. How does that even happen?
Nothing to show for how crazy it's been.
Oh.
But yeah, we have had lots of fun things, but we have lots of fun things coming.
Yes.
So I think that's part of why it's been crazy for us is all of the planning that we're doing that we don't normally have.
Yeah.
So in addition to our normal classes and fun and this each week and all of those things, you know, planning and trying to gather information for both the shop hop and our retreat.
Yes.
So there's definitely a lot of things happening.
Yes,
which
lots of stuff in the background.
Think on our end makes it feel crazier
Yes.
than it looks from the other side.
For sure.
But our job is to make it look easy, right? That's that's what. So hopefully we're doing that. But
yeah.
But
gluten-free options for people with dietary restrictions.
I am sure there will be vegetarian options. The gluten-free would be up to the hotel, and I don't know the answer to that.
So the question that we're discussing over here is whether we're going to have specialty food options available at the retreat, which is a great question.
Yeah.
Maybe you are a vegetarian, or this particular question was gluten-free. So there definitely will be vegetarian options that we'll be able to accommodate.
Yes.
We're not sure exactly what the hotel has because, of course, we're having to use the hotel's food.
Yep.
We're not bringing that in. So
that
it will be limited to what the available options are.
Depending on their kitchen.
But we do plan to send out kind of like a questionnaire of what your machine is, if you do have any dietary restrictions or any of those kinds of things, so that we can make that plan. So to make sure that you are taken care of to the best of our ability.
Yes.
So, and that won't happen until much closer to the event.
Yep.
So feel free to sign up if you have any of those kinds of concerns. We will do our absolute best, even if we make somebody run out and get something from some random place and just keep it really quiet.
Yeah.
No, we don't want to do that, of course, but we do have every intention of requesting information on your personal needs so that we can try to do what we can to make everything as smooth as possible for everybody. So I figured somebody else might be thinking about that too. So
yeah,
might
and
as well say it.
It's definitely filling up. We're just under half full.
Yeah. So. And considering we have a long time to go,
yes,
that means there's really only about 20 spots left because we're almost to the other half full there. So if you've been contemplating it, contemplate a little bit more and make a decision so that you don't miss out because you waited too long. So.
Yes.
But
Marilyn was going to ask if we had any fun news about the retreat or our first impressions of the Bella box.
So did you watch?
I did not.
I watched parts of it. I had to stop and get up and do other things because I was here while it was going.
Yeah.
But I really liked what they had. The clock is very, very cute. So it's a stitch the background and then all of the clock fixings, mechanical things are in the kit. They've got a foldable leather tote with different designs. And of course, the free designs, or the bonus designs, they call them, you can fit into different things.
Yeah.
The little scissor bags were cute. Just the different sizes and the one that said, I get a little bit snippy. I thought it was kind of funny. I was like,
maybe that should be on my
maybe
shirt.
I should have that one carried around. I've been getting a little snippy lately. But they have a punch needle, which I have been doing some punch needle, and they have an exclusive punch needle in there, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah.
So I think I'm excited about it.
I'm still on the list to get it.
I am still on the list. So just for clarification, if you are subscribed, quote unquote, to the Bella box, unless you go in and say skip, you are going to get charged. I think it's the 15th. I think it's the 15th is when they're going to start running that. And then once they have all of the subscribers' orders filled, it will open up for just one off, if you will. I just want this one. But if you are a subscriber, you will automatically be on the list to get one.
Yeah.
Now, we found out last time shipping is all over the place. So
Yeah, they're using a fulfillment center now, which is a little bit different. So I think they have all of the boxes are at the fulfillment center, and then they ship out.
they ship out, but it's like, like my mom lives down the street from me and we both got a box. And we didn't get them anywhere near the same time. So it's not even necessarily regionally being done. It's literally, I don't know if it's going alphabetical. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But I can tell you that last time anyways, the shipping was
all
all over the place. So don't freak out if you didn't get yours the first day somebody else got theirs. It's probably completely normal.
Yeah, but it is sewing themed, and I am a sucker for
I'm a
anything
sucker for
sewing
most
themed.
sewing themed anythings, and I thought that the punch needle was very cute. I thought the little designs that they had for the leather tote, the one was sewing themed and whatnot. I know
It's really loud over here. There's no drawer to put
there's
it
no
in.
drawer to put it in. I'm sorry about that, guys.
That's all right.
But
I'd put it in the fabric bag, but we'd never find it.
fortunately, I won't need it for a couple of days. So the I think it's a very, very cute theme, and I think they did different enough things in it that it's not like we have a million of all of those things already, which is nice because sometimes we get a little, I don't need another one of these, or what am I going to do with that? I don't need a wall hanging. I don't need but a clock. Hey, that's cool, and
I'm not going to tell you how many clocks I have.
I have a few clocks.
I have a whole drawer at my house full of like sewing and camper themed clocks that people kept giving me.
Giving you?
Yeah.
I thought this was very cute. It was the one stitch at a time.
It's
something.
adorable. Yeah.
I thought it was very cute. I have a really cute vinyl record cut out of a sewing machine with miscellaneous sewing things at home, and actually I was gifted to one that's here. I thought those were kind of cute.
Clocks are,
and I have a Kimberbell clock also up in my room, but I think this will be I'll find a home for it. Maybe he'll be in my bathroom. Who knows? Who knows? And it doesn't matter, right? But I thought it was nice that they weren't just a different design on the same thing.
Yeah.
So I thought they did a really good job of giving us alternative projects, not just the standard everyday.
I agree.
And even the zippered bag, it's a funky shape, and it, they kind of shook things up a little bit. So I thought it was very cute, and I'm not skipping. So sorry to somebody else, they're not going to get my box.
Yeah, it's the only Kimberbell thing I'm still subscribed to.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's cute, and I am, like I said, a sucker for
anything sewing themed. It's just.
It's too cute.
It is always so, so cute. So, yeah, I thought the Snippy was pretty cute. So, I'm glad you agree with me, Marilyn.
Yeah, we might have to walk around with those on our shirts.
Feeling
Beware.
Snippy. I'm armed and Snippy. No,
like those little dog tags that say, like, I'm aggressive.
Right. Beware of Sarah. Beware of Lisa. No, don't. That's
beware, Snippy. Snippy can happen.
Too funny. Not responsible for. That's what we get. Sorry. Okay. So this is Serger Month, and today we're sitting in front of the Triumph, which I just love this machine.
Yes.
I think, and I honestly can't say whether I could make space for two machines at my house, but I just really love that everything is in this one. So the other way that you could have everything in this one is with two machines, and that would be the combination of the Euphoria and the Acclaim.
Right.
So those two machines together would give you all of the tools and things that are in here.
Yes. And the reason that we pick the Acclaim from any of the other machines in there is because the Acclaim has the air threading for the needle.
It has the air threading, and it also has the wave.
Yes, the wave stitch plus the presser foot lifter on the right, which is all of the, it's basically everything that is on the Triumph.
I was having a conversation with somebody about muscle memory, and when you are so used to something, and then you sit down in front of another machine that has a different setup,
Yeah.
your brain just has a hard time computing that because you just automatically reach to a specific place.
Yep.
And then when it's not where you think it's going to be,
It's very
your brain
confusing.
kind of like shuts down for a second and it goes into overload mode of now what am I supposed to be doing? But
And it's really hard to change that muscle memory, and
it takes a long time.
And when you think you have it, somehow it reverts to a previous version.
And you know, I mean, for me, because we sit in front of so many different machines, that's it takes no time at all to just pop right back to my original muscle memory because it was there for so much longer.
Right.
So,
Yep. The Triumph is our top of the line. That is the Cadillac
yes.
of the Serger world. And I might as well just put the little doodad up here so that you guys can see that. Add to stage. Let me find the right button.
That'll work.
It's a little, that one will work.
That
There we go. So it is coming with a really nice, fantastic bundle of stuff. But honestly, the bundle value is great, but the machine is also $500 off of the regular price.
Which, when this first came out, it was a $6,000 machine.
Yes.
And then they lowered the price to $5,000, which we all thought was like, holy crap, that's phenomenal.
Yes.
And it's a great machine for the $5,000. So not only is it another $500 off right now through the end of the month, so there is a limited time on that.
Yep.
But you're also getting $500 worth of stuff.
Yes.
So, and it's just, this is the best price point bundle, whatever you want to call it, that we've had on this machine that I can ever think of.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's a really, really good value. And one of the really nice features on these machines, and you will not hear me say this for a lot of things, is the non-electronic component in it. I love my sewing machine that has all of these things.
All of the bells and the whistles.
Right.
And
I will go to an electronic sewing machine 9 times out of 10 versus something with manual tensions. But on this machine or on this Serger, my experience with lots of different brands of machines that have a computer screen. The computer screen is great, but it's never what I want it to be.
And it doesn't magically do everything for you.
It does not.
This machine magically does things
It
for
does.
you. It really does.
Yeah, you really have 4 settings. You have a dial that has 4 choices.
Yep, A, B, C, or D.
Yes, and it's like when you go to your Ninja cooking thing and it says bake, broil,
Preheat,
confection, microwave, right? So you've got your 4 choices and you have your recipe card and it tells you which
choice you want for that stitch.
Which one are you supposed to use?
You don't even have to figure out which one. It tells you.
It tells you.
It's so wonderful.
Right, that is the beautiful, easy thing about the Serger.
I mean, I knew nothing about serging when I started working here.
Yeah.
I had used one, and I can't say I enjoyed the experience over much. And I was like, wow, that was really confusing and overwhelming to me. And so I was like, yeah, no, I'm good. I don't
need
really
one of those. Yeah.
And then they're like, no, sit down. And I was like,
right.
Oh, I get it. And it really does make all the difference in the world. The lack of having to figure everything out is so freeing.
Yes.
It's just like, oh, I can do this.
Right.
You don't have to know anything about serging.
No.
You have to be able to read. You have to be able to read that card
right. Yes.
and then do what it tells you to do. You have to follow directions.
Yes.
Which can be hard. But these directions are not hard.
No, and it doesn't matter what type of fabric you have in it, which is really the thing that is so much different than many sergers that have the computer component in. They might tell you, this is what you set your machine for a 4 thread, but pick the type of fabric that you're going to use. Are you using woven? Are you using knit? Are you using sheer, light, medium, heavyweight stuff? On this machine, it magically does it for you.
It'll adjust.
It just automatically adjusts, yeah. So we don't use that auto tension word often when it comes to sergers, and this is a auto tension without there being an electronic component in it, which is really genius.
It's so wonderful.
Right.
These people are so smart.
I know. It's just like magic.
And that's exactly what Tony,
Right.
I was like, he's like, hey, do you want to see how these things work? I'm like, yeah, I would love to be able to explain it to a customer. She was like, come on back. I've got one open on my bench. I'm like, okay. And it had these 4 metal bars
Mm-hmm.
that were in each of the sections where the thread comes through.
Yep.
And he was like, look, and he hit the foot pedal and the bars did this.
Mm-hmm. And this.
And then
They go, yeah.
that was it. And I was like, okay. He was like, it's magic. I was like, that's
What?
not helpful.
No.
It's
What
true.
the-
It's true, but
Yeah.
it's not super helpful to try to explain.
Mm-mm.
I can't explain how it works. I still can after all these years. I cannot explain how it does what it does, but it does it and it does it perfectly every time.
I always say it's kind of like pulleys and levers. That's my best description of it, because there really isn't anything else. The foot tells the machine how thick the fabric is, and then the machine just says, okay, based on this height, here's how much thread you should have, and then it just spits it out.
It just does it. It doesn't talk back or anything.
No, I mean,
It's
there
so
are not a
wonderful.
lot of things in our life that don't talk back.
This just does what you tell it to do without any question. And a wonderful thing about this particular machine, along with the Acclaim, it will not let you sew with the foot up.
Which is a really nice
So
feature.
it's very easy to think your foot is down
Yeah.
on a serger.
Yeah, let's show you. Right now,
So this is actually up.
right,
And if I put fabric under there, it's even more
less noticeable.
less noticeable. It's even more appearing that
Mhm.
the foot is down, which I can tell that it's now down. I can do a flick test. If
Yeah.
I can flick it, the foot is up. If the foot's down,
You have to work really hard.
you
do
got to
that.
work really hard. You're going to break your nail,
Mhm.
right? But if I hit the gas and my foot is up, okay, so there's my flick, it's moving. I hit the gas. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but I'm
Mhm.
stepping on the foot pedal.
Nothing
Nothing's happening. It will not sew if your foot is up.
Right,
Now, why does that matter?
because when your foot is up,
You'll
You're-
get really ugly stitches.
yeah, you have no tension, just like on
no
your sewing
tension.
machine.
You get this hot mess,
Mhm.
mostly underneath. So you
Yeah.
won't see it on top, and you're gonna be like, "What's going on?"
Right.
And you can sew and sew and sew, and then you'll flip it over, and you'll be like,
what?
"Bad words."
Yeah.
What just happened? I have, instead of this beautiful looper, I have balls of yuck along
Yeah.
the entire thing, and you're just like, "What
Right.
happened?"
And then you rethread the machine again, and you double check all of your settings, and you sew again, and it does the same thing, and you're frustrated. So then you call us, and you're like, I have this fantastic machine. I've got everything. I've double and triple
And
checked.
it doesn't work.
And we're like, can you just double check that the foot is down?
And they go, "What?" I didn't check
Of course
that.
the foot is down. I'm like, okay, but just double check.
Just go and check. Oh, yeah. I
Yep.
mean, and that is always the answer. So
Yeah.
that safety mechanism that they put in this machine is a lifesaver.
Yeah.
It's the reason that I own a Triumph.
Yeah.
Because I had another machine that did all of these things, but it didn't
Right.
not let me screw that up. And I needed
it's a nice
something to
feature.
keep me from not screwing up. Because remember, I said I don't know anything about serging. I don't have to. That's the whole point.
That's right.
So if my foot is up, step on the gas, nothing happens. As soon as I put the foot down, everything starts going.
Right. So one of the things that people always ask us is, why are there so many threads? Well,
Why is there 8
Yeah.
on this machine?
that doesn't make any sense. And we always tell people there's no real, it's purely decorative if you choose to use all 8 threads. There is nothing about using 8 threads that is like technical.
There's no pattern that's ever going to tell you need all of these threads and all of these needles
Right.
to complete this project.
No.
Won't happen. So there's
But
the
we
back.
just wanted to show you that you could.
All right, so you have 3 cover hem stitch needles, 1, 2, 3, and then we have 2 needles, which is the straight stitches right here in the turquoise, and then the loopers that wrap around there. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 needles, 2 loopers here, that's 6 and
Mhm.
7, and then 1 looper here, that's 8, and that's your 8 threads.
Yes.
But again, no construction and purpose stitch to that. It just looks pretty. It would look really pretty like along the edges of a baby blanket or something. You can put decorative
Threads in your
threads and just go around flannel and boom, you've got a
Mhm.
really cutely decorated thing.
Right.
Has no purpose whatsoever, but it
Mhm.
looks really cute.
Right.
you could absolutely do that.
Yes.
But something like that would really be, it's the only reason that you would do something like that.
It's just so you can say you can.
Yeah, because you
The
can.
status quote.
Just because you can. So we are going to work using, what did we say, a 4 thread, right?
Yeah. We're going to do a 4 thread. So we're going to unthread our chain looper and our needles. Do you want to clip the chain too?
Oh, yeah, that's probably a good idea.
You had the,
I missed one.
there you go.
Let's do that one more time.
There we go.
Okay, so notice my foot's down, it'll sew.
Mhm.
I don't even have to have fabric.
No.
And it will work, and it'll
does.
work great.
Yes.
So that is also a thing when it comes to sergers, is you can sew on air.
You can. Well, one of the things we wanted to show you was that once we have the machine set up for the 4 thread, and in this instance, all we have to do is take out these 3 needles, and we will be set up for our 4 thread. But we wanted to show you how sewing on a variety of different fabrics and making no changes whatsoever, and how the stitch is always perfect. Because I think that's the part that everybody is always like in awe about, or they don't believe you. Like,
Until they see it.
can you really do that?
So you saw the 4 thread on just standard cottons, but we'll do that too. But that is literally what this turquoise stitch is here along the edge of this fabric. So we do have 4 turquoise threads in, so it's the same everywhere. So you won't be able to see based on color what's in what position, just FYI. Because it's pretty that way. All right, so we have, what do we have over here? Some standard cotton, so let's start with that.
Yep, standard cotton. We have some weird velveteen that's super stretchy, and then we have another stretchy knit.
And I don't care what weighs up and down here. I'm just going to give us 2 pieces because that's generally what you're going to be doing. You don't have to, but you can. So this is a special table. Do you want to tell them about that?
Yeah, this is the new, it's a overlap cover hem combo table. So normally when we're doing our traditional serging and we're cutting off the edge, we don't have the area on the plate here. We don't have this part. We just have this over here. But with these over here, we can now use some of our attachments that we couldn't use before.
While using our blade.
While using our blade, which we were not able to do before. So that's what this combo table is. This came out last year?
I think it's been 2 now.
No, I think you're right, 2 years ago, and has been very, very popular. If you have an Ovation or a Triumph, you can use
This table will work. So the tables that it comes with, brand new, are this piece with a smaller section. It doesn't have this outside piece. And the other piece doesn't have this. It's completely flat, and it has screw holes in that.
Exactly.
So you get 2 tables with it. One is for cover hem, one is for overlock. This one allows you to do everything all at the same time and have some attachment capabilities if you are looking for that.
Right, which is really fun.
So one more time, there's my beautiful 4 thread. I got lots of threads hanging off here, but there's my beautiful 4 thread. And this is just 2 layers of standard cotton. All right, what else we got over here? Want to do knit next?
Yeah,
Do I need to double that?
probably. It should be
All
super
right.
stretchy. I think it's 2-way stretch.
This is, yeah, this is what I should be wearing.
We should all have 2-way
Right?
stretch.
That's what we should
Except for
all
maybe
hang
my
out with,
pants.
right? All right, so again, I have not changed anything. All I did was grab a different fabric, and I'm showing you that this is super stretchy. So we haven't talked about differential feed. You can kind of see my finger over here. I am on N. So with a knit, sometimes you can make that adjustment if you're getting puckers. So we're not even getting puckers.
No.
So I don't even need to worry about that. So here is my stretch stitch,
Look at that stretch.
and it moves with the fabric.
Yep.
So I didn't do anything.
Nope.
If you were getting little puckers from the fabric feeding, so it was stretching out as it was stitching, so it was coming out the back. You could adjust that differential feed, and it would adjust the speed of your feed system
Yep.
so that they are working towards making you the best stitch possible.
Yeah, and after we play around with this, we'll do a rolled hem, and we'll show you like on regular fabric, and then we can adjust the differential feed and show like how we can change that and get a little bit of gather.
We sure can do that. All right, so this is it's shiny.
I know, right?
It's so
it's like
pretty.
some sort of weird.
So this
stretchy.
it's a feels like a velour, so it's a faux velvet. And again, do I need to double that?
Maybe. It's got a lot of curl.
It definitely has a lot of curl. So I am doubling this. You can absolutely sew on a single layer if that's what you're looking for. So again, no adjustments have been made. I'm not going very fast. I still don't really see anything happening out the back. So I'm stopping as I get a little bit here to check before I keep going. Do I need to adjust my differential feed? One thing that you don't want to do is pull or push,
Right.
because that will, of course, affect. So again, beautiful 4 thread that is absolutely a perfect stitch. Stretches along with the fabric. So here are 3 different fabrics. We made absolutely no change in the machine. We just sewed.
Yeah, we didn't adjust our stitch length, our stitch width, nothing.
Nope. Just threw in a different fabric. So you can see all 3 that are right there without having to do. I can throw in organza. I can then go back to cotton. I can go to blue jeans.
Right.
It doesn't matter. You don't have to make an adjustment. The only thing that I ever do is that differential feed based on if I need to make a pucker or pull out a pucker.
Yep.
So it is that simple to sew on these machines. It's just basic, hit the gas and go.
Yes.
It's such a wonderful thing. So what do we want to do now?
What does anybody have, like, is there anything that you guys want to see the machine do, or you want us to show you? I think we should definitely do a rolled hem because it's so easy to set up.
You know, I didn't bring a card over here. I was silly. I should have brought a card so they could see.
Yeah, I can do that.
All right. So what needle do I need here? Let's see.
You need to take out your left needle.
I need to remove my left. So I'm going to make a rolled hem. It's going to use just the right needle. So I'm going to snip my left needle thread and do just like I did before. I'm going to sew until I get that thread out. All right. And then I'm going to remove that needle. So again, I have a right needle and a left needle. My right is still threaded. You can see that blue there. I'm just going to remove my left needle. There is a magnet in these screw holes that will hold your screw in to some extent, but there's a lot of vibration. I generally will turn it back. I won't crank down to strip it out or anything, but I generally retighten just a little bit. So I now have just my right needle in. I like D. What do you like? Okay. So we're going to go all the way down. Over here is my A, B, C, D switch. On the 4th thread, we were up at A. I'm just going to push that all the way down to D. And that is literally how hard that part is. I don't know if they're not going to be able to see with this table, so there's not much point in trying. I am going to take my width and I'm going to do 1 click into my rolled hem. And what happens up here is that my position finger goes and hides in its little hole.
Yes.
So that is actually welded into the machine. So there's no vibration. It doesn't move around. I don't have to remove anything and then lose it.
Right. We have
And
to change our plate.
I don't have to do any of those things. I just turn that dial and it just rotates back and then it's out of position so that I can create that rolled hem.
Yep. And if you're looking at your serger, there are 2 dials, the length and the width button. The length one is actually the smaller of the 2, and
I'm just trying to
I said that wrong. The width button is the
width
smaller
button is
of the
the smaller on top.
Yep. And the length is your bigger dial that turns. And our card here tells us that we need our needle in our O2, which is our right needle, and that our length should be, they give you a recommendation depending on what you want your roll time to look like.
You can make a big difference on what you're wanting and what it's going to look like on this on that length of stitch.
Yep. And then it tells us to put our stitch width at about 3.5, which is the narrowest that you can go. And then you have a wave selector dial over here. It wants you to make sure that you're still
You're
on
down
overlock. And then it wants you to put your subsidiary looper engaged, making sure it's not off.
Yeah, so your subsidiary looper is here, and you want, it shows you in there the arrow pointing to the right, so that you want this section over on the right.
Yep.
Engaged would be swung around to the left, but that, again, we're swinging on the right-hand
Yep.
side. So that is shows you where that's at there, and it tells you that you want your knife cover, which is this guy here.
Mm-hmm.
And it says all of those things on the card.
Yes.
So I don't have to memorize that. There's not a, you don't have to learn it and then, stress yourself to remember it in 6
Nope.
months when you get back
Card's
to
right there.
something as well. It literally is that straightforward. So we've adjusted our width, we've adjusted our length. I removed a needle and I switched down to D. That's literally all I did. And it took longer because we had to talk about it
Yep.
than if I had just done it. So I am just going to stitch a little bit here. You don't want to go super, super fast on this. You want to give it a chance to really fill in those spaces. If I go really, really fast, you'll see more gaps. In this case, you would see more black fabric showing through in between my stitches. So I have done nothing to this stitch. I
Right.
haven't added anything into it. It's one layer of fabric. This is a very long piece of fabric. Sorry, guys, hang on. Almost there. And so this is a great thing for placemats, napkins, ruffled dress edges.
Yep.
All kinds of things. I mean, any dress. It doesn't even have to be a ruffle, just the hem of your dress. And it's a wonderful option for those things. So we have a beautiful blue, and it's, if you guys can see, it literally rolls around and it makes kind of like a little circly looking edge. So you can see little bits of the black coming through every now and then. That's 100% normal. If you are wanting to see absolutely no show through, there's a couple things that you can do. One, we could change the type of thread
Yep.
that we're putting through in the looper.
We just have standard serger thread
This
in
is
there.
just standard thread. So we could put in a poly yarn or woolly nylon that is going to basically poof,
Yep.
and it fills in those gaps for you. It's a beautiful option for these types of seams.
Yep.
One other thing that you can do is fill the seam a little bit more. Hayden likes to use fishing line.
Yep.
And that gives you a nice big bump, and that thread gives the thread also more to grab and
Exactly.
and fill.
Mm-hmm.
And so that will also give you a little bit crisper, fuller edge.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that you can do is use a heat and gun, which is an embroidery stabilizer topper
Mm-hmm.
that will fill in there as well. Because it's heat, it's not water, it'll stay in there. So it
Right.
keeps that poof in there, and then it's a tear away. So it just tears away from the seam anywhere that's not
Right.
in there. So a couple different things that you can do if you wanted a little bit different look. That's some ways that you could do that.
Yep, and there are actually 3 narrow hems. There is the rolled edge, which is what we just did. There's a 3-thread overlock narrow, and then there's a 3-thread overlock narrow hem. I think
Yep.
that there's a little square over there. It's Christmassy. Yeah, that one on the bottom. That's got one of each. Do you want to show that on?
I can
on that one?
absolutely do that.
So each of those 3 different stitches.
I'm going to go with 2. We got a probably narrow hem and a rolled hem. There's
And then, Oh, I thought we did both. I guess not. We just did narrow.
We're
and
going to
rolled.
do, so this is the Darrow hem. And you can see one of the fun things with your serger is you can put some fun threads in there and it doesn't argue with you.
Mm-mm.
You have a lot more playing power with some threads. So you can see it a little bit more popping against that red there. All right, and then this is the edge that we just did. And again,
We have 2 fabrics, and then I think we have a woolly
I think there's a woolly nylon and then a
and a
metallic
glitter. Yeah.
something. So that is where you see that a little bit fuller. That's the type of yarn that we used there. So a little bit of a difference, but the same stitch that you can change the look of by the type of yarn that you put in it.
Mm-hmm.
So this, I use this a lot. I've done many gifts and things like that with this. It's just so simple.
It really is.
And you can have a lot of fun with decorative threads.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, you can alter it a little bit by filling the space a little bit more and whatnot. So it's super fun. And, you know, napkins.
And these sergers are not, some sergers are very finicky with the thread that you have going on in there. Our sergers are not super finicky.
Mm-mm.
So you can use a wide variety of stitches in there.
That is a poly yarn.
Yep.
So that's got a little bit of poof, which is why you don't really see much gapping anywhere in there. And that is a rolled hem on both sides of that ruffle there. So fun. You know, again, ruffled skirts, ruffles on pillows. I mean, so many different things home deck wise that you can do with the serger.
Yeah.
And make it so simple to do
Right.
that as well, for sure.
I think we should show them how easy it is to thread the loopers.
Let's do that.
Because it really, really is very, very easy. And a lot of people, they really stress about threading their machine. Some people even stress about threading these. So
Yep. And you shouldn't.
no. And all of our air threading sergers, they have the same basic thread system. The thing that changes between the 2 different styles really is whether or not it makes a really loud noise, which means it will thread both loopers at the same time.
Or it goes whoosh.
Yeah, and then it will thread 1 looper at a time.
Whoosh.
Yes.
Sound
One is
effects are
super
always
quiet.
free.
Yes. I always say one sounds like a very quiet air compressor.
Yep.
And that's what this one is. It's because it has more power to push the thread in. Maybe go
gonna
back
take
just a little.
this one?
Yeah. There we go.
Is this in the way?
I don't
think
think,
it's okay.
so because the
Oops, I'm sorry.
the loopers are gonna pull out over there. So that looks good. Can
Okay.
you see?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So we ran through, this is all of our other threads that we cut off. So all we have left in the machine is our needle thread. So I have nothing in my loopers, which these are the ports. And then these are my loopers themselves. So I need to get the thread from here over to there, which can be very not fun on other sergers.
It can be
There's-
traumatic.
There's like
You could have PTSD.
it's a maze that you have to go through to get from point A to point Z. Because
Exactly.
there's 20 million stops in between.
I know.
Here, we're simply going to come from the top of our machine. There is a little place that it clicks into, so it stays there. That is an important piece.
Yeah.
That's really the only real tension that you have any control. If you miss that, you're definitely going to have some issues. So I'm going to come here. Here's that blue again. I'm going to click in the back. You can maybe hear that. It goes click. That's literally all there is to it. And then I come, there's a little notch here. All right. And I need to make sure that I have enough thread to go from here all the way over here and around a couple different spots. So if you only have this much thread and you push the button and nothing comes out over there, your brain's going to be like, I broke it or I did it wrong. It's not that you did it wrong. You just need to give it more tail.
Yes.
Something's not moving. Helps if you put your foot up.
There really is tension on it.
There really is tension on that. I'm like, it's not moving. All right. So I will generally pull to the edge of the table, depending upon where it's
Yeah,
at on your
my
table,
leg,
or
something
down
like
to your
that.
leg or something like that. And that is approximately what you need. I tend to have very dry skin, so the thread likes to stick to me. When I put it into the port and I let go, it comes back.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to use tweezers. It's not mandatory. It's just a matter of, for me personally, it's mandatory because I can sit here all day and it just keeps coming right back out,
Right.
which is very frustrating. I don't want to do that. So if I hit this,
Mm-hmm. Nothing happens.
nothing happens. And why is that? Is because I haven't told the machine I want to thread.
That's right.
So this right here is as hard as it gets. So we're going to go from serging to threading. I told the machine I want to serge, and now I have to do one more thing. I need to turn the hand wheel towards me until I hear that click. That could be a whole round of my hand wheel, or it could be like this time really fast.
Mm-hmm.
It just depends on where you ended up.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong if it takes a longer time. It's just because of where you stopped sewing at. That's all that means.
Yep.
So now I'm inserting, I have that in there, and I tap this and it comes flying out my port right over here. So that is my upper looper, and that's literally all there is to threading. I don't know about you guys, but that is so stressful. Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter if we thread our upper looper or a lower looper, or if we
We
thread
can
both
thread
at the
them both
same.
at the same time. So if I had both of those in there and I pushed it, they'd both go flying through there.
Mm-hmm.
On this machine or any of the machines that have this type of
Yes.
the air compressor type of
Yep.
looper threader. The one that whoosh, you actually have a little thing that goes sideways that you say I'm doing the upper and now I'm doing the lower.
Yep.
So it's where the air is being aimed.
Right.
All right. I'm going to click again. So that's stuck up at the top here. Got my foot up so the thread's moving. It's little things in life.
Little things in life.
And I'm going to pull that so that I have a decent amount of tail there. And then drop that port in and push. And there is the other end. It's literally that
That's simple.
simple. And let me tell you, I have threaded other machines. I haven't really sewn on them a whole lot because I'm like, I don't want to do that. But I have done, the thread. This is literally just absolutely no stress because the machine just does it all for you.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got, you can see U here, L here. That stands for upper and lower looper. This one here is the C. It's in gold, and that's because it's for the chain looper. So the chain or the cover hem uses the gold colors, and that is the looper thread for that. So I would do the same thing. I'm going to drop that tip in there, push the button, and it'll go flying across to that looper.
Mm-hmm.
It's that hard.
Easy.
Yep, it's that hard.
It's that hard.
It's that hard. All good. At this point, I can tell it I'm ready to sew because I would be.
Mm-hmm.
All right. If we wanted to thread the needles on this machine, whether it's because you broke a thread or you're just changing colors or whatever it happens to be, you do have to be in threading, excuse me.
Yes.
I read the word. See what you get for reading. For the threader mechanism to engage. So if I am in threading, that will lock into place, and then this one works more like a vacuum. It sucks the thread into the needle versus pushing the thread through over here. But I have to be in threading for that to work.
Yep.
I have gotten that question over the phone. I can't get my threader to engage for my needles.
Yep.
How did I break it? Am I not in the right position? You have to be here.
Barb is asking, where does the fishing line go? That's a great question. It doesn't actually go in the machine. It goes in a channel in the elastic foot.
Yes.
So there is a special little area in that foot that you can actually just feed the fishing line through.
That goes right through it.
Yeah, and then it puts it on the edge of the foot, which is where your thread is going to be, and then your thread covers it. So it becomes filler inside. So you feed that in with your fabric, essentially, not with your thread.
Correct. It doesn't get processed up here. It's just coming in from out here.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's literally the only thing when it comes to those needles. I think the hardest thing with the needles is you have to let go.
Yes. I mean, which is kind of like the manual needle threaders that we have, right? The thing that people have the hardest part when you have to swing it down is that they don't want, it's like we have the death grip on the thread. Don't let go, don't let go. And then you just pull it right through. The same thing happens here. Yep. we think as soon as we let it go, it's going to fall, and we have to let it go.
Have to let it go. There's that ding song again.
Mm-hmm.
So that is key here. Again, I'm going to show you if it's not there and I pull this down, it stops part way. It literally won't go past a certain position.
It won't lock in place.
It won't lock in place because this isn't actually in the right position. So it definitely needs to be in threading before it will function.
Yes.
Okay. We have lots of fun things that we can do. What should we do?
Let's go. Want to go to chain or cover and
Sure.
gather?
Yeah, let's gather. Gathering's awesome. All right. I'm gonna grab all my threads here. Oh, we're gonna sew it out. All right, so there's all my thread. I just cut them up at the top of the machine and then I hit the gas and I just pull until they are all out of the way. So right now we have no thread in the machine and we have one needle. What do you want to do, a narrow?
We can do a narrow or a chain, whatever you like.
I got one needle.
Let's start with the chain.
All right,
Put it in the middle.
I can do that. Maybe. All right, so these are a standard flat back needle. I don't think we talked about that yet. There are specialty needles that you can use for this.
ELX 705.
And do you have to remember what that is?
No, the inside of your machine, the cover here, it has a cheat sheet on there and it tells you what that is. Or you come to your favorite Babylock dealer and you say, I need
a thing for
special
this.
sergers
And we'll
for
walk
my-
over to our machine. And we'll look. All right, somewhere in here. There we go. All right. There is also a little bump right here. So you can see when your needle has hit and that you're in the correct position. Because just like anything else with threaders and things,
Yeah.
they need to be in the right position. If they're too low, then the eye doesn't line up with all of the different things. So I am just putting that in center. So it's in the middle position over here. And now we're going to thread. What'd you need?
I was just going to thread the chain part while
Oh,
you...
yeah, sure. So I am going to take my C2, which is my center needle thread, and I'm going to just floss it in this middle section here because that's going to make sure that I'm getting the right, and I don't even have to look back there. That is how nice they did with the
so much
thread.
better.
It used to be so hard to get that in the back, and they have really made that so much easier. So I am pulling that down. It comes here, up and over, and then there's a little clip right here. So I could tweezer this in, which with one needle, you might be just as fast with that.
Right.
But again, if I want to use that air threading, I can go into serging mode till it clicks, and then my threader will come in. So here's where we were talking about, you really do have to let go of the thread. It has basically a little vacuum in there. So all I have to do is hold the thread in front of the needle and push the button. It's going to get a little bit loud for a second. The key is once I've pushed that, I have to let go of my thread. So I'm going to push, let go, and I pulled it back. Let's try that one more time. So there we go. All right, one more time, we're going to push the button and then I'm going to let go. Except you have to let go in front of the needle. Oh, that would make a big, I'm like, why isn't this working?
OE.
Operator error, so there are a few things you could do wrong. I just did that. So there's a little lever up here that basically there's one vacuum. And like we were saying about the notch on the other side, there's this over here. So
Yeah.
the vacuum has to be on the right set of needles.
Yes.
So you have a set of 3 and you have a set of 2. That depends on that. So it'll work this time.
Third time's a charm.
Well, you know, There we go. It's the little things in life, let me tell you. All right, so once we have that, we should be able to see in this little box right here. I don't know if you guys can see that. Can you see that on camera? So this box right here, and there is that looper thread, and that's all it needs to do. You just need to see that it's in there. There's not like a amount or anything. You just need to have it that far. As long as you can see that, you're good to go. If you have a whole bunch wound up in there, that's okay too. Doesn't matter. It just needs to be in that little box. Once you check that, you can lock your thread in there too. Little things.
But you want to leave it in there.
You do want to leave it in there. You don't need to play with it at all. Just check, say, yep, nope, it's not. Give it a little bit more tail over here. Push the button again until you see it over there.
Right.
And then you just close the door again.
Yes.
It's all good. So this is on a hinge. It just pops open and closes back up. That's all there is to
when
that.
we're working on the front set of needles, we have basically 3 needle options. You can use all 3 or any combination. So it can be a single needle, which we consider chain, and you can put the single needle in left, center, or right.
Yep.
Then we can have a narrow hem, and the narrow hem can be in left and center, or center and right.
Yep.
And then we have a wide, which can be the left and the right, or we have a triple, which would be all 3. So it doesn't matter. Any one of those combinations is fine.
Yep, sure is. And I am just going to take and this is weirding me out, just so you know.
We also didn't put the upper looper down yet.
Because it's up there. So let's do this. Now that is locked in place, so it's underneath there. This will work. Work. Seems a little high. Let's see how that does.
Sure. 2 to
You
3.
want it? Oh yeah.
I mean, that's what it says.
Okay,
So
never mind.
I mean, you never know.
Okay. All right. So the thing to note about a cover hem is when you first start it, you need to start with your needle in fabric. This is the one place that you cannot sew on air.
Right.
You do need to be in the fabric. All right. So I've dropped my needle into that fabric. I don't need to have a huge stitch length or any. I sometimes would start in my fabric, but only if I already knew everything was fine.
Yeah.
Tension wise. So, little things. So now I can sew on air. And we have our straight stitch and the looper basically kind of winding its way through there. So that is all good. So we could start doing whatever it is that we planned to do.
Yep.
So I'm going to take another one of these really long pieces of
Yes.
fabric. And this time I want to basically just run along this edge, and then we can run along the other edge too if we want. But I need to do something else first if I want to do a ruffle.
We need to tell it to gather.
To gather. And so there are different feet that you can use for this. We're just going to do this with our regular foot for the moment because that's what we've got here and it will work just beautifully. But I need to take my differential feet and pop that all the way up to the top, which is number 2.
Right. So what that means is that there are 2 sets of feed dogs, and one of them now is going to be working twice as fast as the other.
Right.
So that's what we did.
Yep. So it is going to push that in faster than it's coming out the back. So the front set of dogs is going to work twice as fast, and it's going to push that in, which is going to make puckers, basically. So you don't want to go super fast. Let the fabric kind of build up underneath. Did I say that right way? So, and you can even kind of hold it in the back so that it's not going too fast out. So you can see that that is automatically ruffling, and that's a nice ruffle. The chain, I think, is probably one of my favorite ways to do this.
Yes. definitely mine.
I have certainly tried under lots of different circumstances. I think this is probably my favorite one. So if I wanted this to be with a rolled, look how pretty that is. I mean, just so simple. And all we did was flip that up.
Yeah.
That's that simple. And it does that all on its own. You could do that again if you wanted. You can do the other side. Maybe you want to put a rolled hem on this edge so that you have a finished edge, and then you could attach this into a pillow or
Right.
whatever else. Lots of different options with that. If we want to have what we would call ruching, we can simply just do the other side. And now we have this beautiful panel that we could insert in the front of a bag, in a pillow.
Yeah,
It
like
doesn't-
our pillow panels we have over
Yep,
there.
absolutely. So lots of different things that you can do when you have these. And you can do this out of some really fancy fabrics and really add like a highlight spot or something like that. And it's that simple. You just turn your differential feet up to 2 and sew.
Yes. It's easy as pie.
This is easier than your sewing machine
Oh,
by
yeah.
far.
Yeah.
There is also a shearing foot that you can use. There is a ruffling foot. The main function of the ruffling foot gives you the ability to
Gather two.
gather to a straight piece that's not gathered.
Yes.
It's got a little guide on the top that you run the fabric above, and so it sews that into place.
Yes.
Underneath, on top of,
Yeah.
and then you underneath it still doing the gathering because
Right.
that fabric then isn't on the feed dogs.
Exactly. Similar to like what we do on our sewing machine if we're using a gathering foot.
Yes. Yep.
The feed dogs are the part that gather up and you
Yep.
gather it to something.
So we've got a little bit of that over here. So this center panel, this was a bench pillow that we did for a little, I don't know,
A couple years ago.
couple years ago. And that's got the double edged. So we have that nice ruching panel in here. You did that in the front of that wallet, that little panel in there. That came out absolutely stunning. And then this one is just gathered down the center. So, and then sewn onto the edge. So ruffles are very, very easy, but they can really add a lot of bang with not having to put a lot of investment of time and things into that. You can
Right.
really do a lot of stuff with that.
So cute.
So that's ruffling. You can ruffle with like a narrow, so a 2-thread
Yeah.
narrow. You can do that same thing.
Yep. And get 2 rows of
And just
stitches.
have 2 rows of stitches. So there's different options on that as well. But the chain cover side does a better ruffle job than the overlock side.
Yeah, it ruffles much fuller.
You get a
than-
much more robust look for sure. Yep. All right. Any
So-
other questions?
No, everybody is super quiet today.
Cool.
That is the Triumph in a nutshell. It's kind of all of our sergers in a nutshell.
It is. The one thing we didn't talk about, there's some specialty stitches that we don't talk about on an average everyday basis because you don't use them. The Acclaim has the wave,
Yep.
and as does the Accolade or the Triumph. That wave gives you that really pretty where it pulls the messes with your tension so that you get your bottom lower looper up at on the top of
Yeah.
your stitch, and it just makes a really cool look. You can have a lot of fun with that with some decorative threads and things because again, it's looper thread, so
Yep.
it doesn't have to go through your needle,
No,
which is a lot
we've
of fun.
got a lot more
A
wiggle
lot
room.
of wiggle room to play with those things. Flat lock stitch, there's a blanket stitch. So there's lots of different things that are available to do. And there's a ton of accessories that you can add on to make any of the things easier to apply into a project.
Yeah, if you are a garment sewer, there's downturn fellers, which will turn the fabric down like on a knit.
So you have a nice edge.
So you have a nice edge to do that finished piece. There's different binding attachments for doing like your neck collar and things like that. And then we have piping feet, and we have pin tucking feet. And
There's
we
a
have
beading foot, the
yes,
elastic foot we
elastic
talked about
foot.
earlier. There's a blind stitch foot.
yes.
There's a lace applicator foot, which has a really cool guide that you can actually shift and move. So that one can be used for lots of different reasons.
Absolutely.
There's a slew of different things to make this more fun, less stressful, and it just kind of takes the guesswork out. So there's, guides for things that you just feed your fabric into here, and it joins up with the other piece of fabric right in the right spot, and it's just like magic.
Yeah.
There's so much magic happening.
There is so
It's
much.
It's like we're Disney or something.
Yeah, we are. We're totally Disney. We'll probably just get dinged for that.
Where the magic happens.
Where the magic happens, yeah. We're going to talk about the accolade next week,
We can.
or do you want to go like down to the acclaim?
Let's do the acclaim.
Yeah, and then we can show. Well, next week we'll do the acclaim, and we'll show
We'll show
like
the
a wave
wave,
stitch,
so some specialty
and so
things.
like maybe the blanket stitch, and show you some of those things, because it does the same old
Yes.
4 thread and blind hem.
So if you're wondering what the accolade is, since she just mentioned that, it is the smaller version of the 8 thread, and
It's like the little sister.
it is the little sister, and it basically it doesn't have that safety feature that we talked about, and it doesn't have this throat.
Yep.
That's about the difference.
Yes.
So, but it does all of the stitches that this machine does. So it is also an 8 thread, and it's a great option.
Yes.
We do have one ovation left,
Yes.
which is the previous version of this machine. And so that's also an option right now to get you a great price point into a fantastic serger.
Yeah. Or like the other gal, a second one. so
Or a
you can
second
leave
one, so that you can just leave one set up for one thing and save yourself some time on those things too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
In the meantime, it is Serger month, so if you are thinking about getting a serger, now is the time to buy.
Absolutely.
We have great pricing that we do not know how long we will have that.
Well, we know at least the Triumph one ends on the 30th because that's when the MAP holiday ends. So we can't move it past that online. So it will have basically through the month anyways that will go through there. We do have quite a few things in stock, and
we can absolutely
add on an order if we need to, and it'd still be that same price points and things. So if you have any questions on any of those things, just give us a buzz. We'll let you know what is available, when you could take it home, all of those good things, or just come on in and you can sit down in front of whatever machine you're interested in, and we'll show you the fun things that it can do.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
right,
thanks for
guys.
happy Serger month.
Yeah.
And
happy
we'll see you
serging.
next month.
Yes. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.